So, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs begin to take hold.
You're either in or you're out. Right now.
I want to gamble.
I never want to hear those words out of your mouth again.
Gambling is not your problem.
Has anybody ever told you before your bad luck?
Most gamblers, when they go to gamble, they go to win.
Those were my mother's dying words.
When we go to gamble, we go to lose. Show me the money.
Let's get out of here, man.
Show you the money.
Honestly, let's just go. Let's go to Vegas.
Look at you back in that, Jerry. I want you to say it what you would mean it, brother. Show me the money!
It's the Sports Memory Vegas pregame show.
Hello. The round of 32 is upon us, and there are no more perfect brackets in the world. Not a single one. The March Madness wins again, Newman.
Always. This is to be expected.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I feel like it's been a little mad, but not too mad. The big madness being obviously a top 5 upset of all time, right? St. Peter's knocking off Kentucky in basically a home game in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Doug Edert, who is like the 9th guy off the bench, just continues to hit 3 after 3. Kentucky's guards can't shoot. There was literally a can on top of the rim, not letting any of the shots from Savon Wheeler or Ty go in at all. Just wild. I know you have some Kentucky fans, friends. How are they handling it?
Not well. I mean, so in the game against Tennessee that they lost in the regular season, they shot like 2 of 20 from 3,
Yep.
right? Then they lose to Tennessee again in the SEC tournament with another poor shooting night. And then you follow that up here against St. Peter's with another poor shooting night. And it's just like, this is a team that all the Kentucky fans had me convinced was national championship caliber at minimum. And they obviously fall to a 15 seed here.
I mean, Oscar did his thing. Oscar had 30 points. He was a beast. It was everybody else couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, as an Indiana fan, it's the only thing that's made me happy in this tournament so far. Was this tournament will be remembered not by Indiana's 30-point opening round loss, but by Kentucky's loss. And that makes me feel good inside.
Yeah, first round loss, by the way. They won the opening round in the first
Correct.
4. So
yes,
so
I've seen a lot of memes.
So you can say that Indiana has won a tournament game here.
Yes, they have. They have a better record than Kentucky in March Madness this year. It's facts. It's just facts. It's inarguable. What else stood out to you in the first 2 days?
I mean, Iowa was obviously the other big time loss there. Everyone had a lot of people had them going really far. I saw some people with them in the Final Four, and what I said pretty much is what happened. I didn't expect them necessarily to lose the first round, but I did not think that this team would go very far. They relied too much on their 3-point shooting, which they were absolutely insane in the Big Ten tournament. And here's the problem. A lot of these teams that play in these super Power 5 conferences here, when they make super deep tourney runs, that often kills your legs, right?
Yep.
So we talk about Iowa, we talk about a team like Virginia Tech, right? That made a super deep tournament run. Obviously, they get knocked out by Texas. It just takes so much out of you, that it winds up hurting you in the long run. So teams that kind of take an early exit sometimes actually wound up going farther in the actual tournament because for them, the regular season is what really mattered, right? So that happens. I mean, even if you look at Indiana, you can kind of apply that logic there. Losing.
Second half, they were gassed. Like they had no legs at all in the second half. What I want to talk about is not Indiana anymore. I want to talk about the 11 seeds. 3 11 seeds win. We talked about it on Monday. Just again, they kind of put these Power 5 teams up against these mid-majors, and 6 seeds just aren't what the traditional 6 seed is. And if you put 11s and 12s together, 5, 11, or 12 seeds won this far. It's
Yeah.
been pretty crazy.
I mean, so obviously Notre Dame beats Alabama. I had Rutgers beating Notre Dame in the first 4 game,
Yep.
but either way, I didn't like Alabama, right? So
Alabama hasn't been good all year. Sucks that Quinterly went down so early too, with a likely torn ACL.
Yeah, but I mean, also the other factor there is, I mean, Notre Dame escapes Rutgers. That was a great game to watch. But this one was not. Notre Dame absolutely powered past them. So yeah, that's one of those where it's definitely a little bit of a shocker to some people, but not me, because I did not think that Alabama was that good. Then you look, let's see, obviously Michigan over Colorado State. We called that.
Yep.
Just because, yeah.
And then Iowa State over LSU. We said
the Mountain West was going to be overrated there, and it sure was.
0-4.
Then you got Virginia Tech did not win. They're the one team that didn't. And Iowa State over LSU, with LSU having fired their coach. That was going to be a tough draw. It was a close game. LSU's players kept it competitive, but yeah.
Yeah, the other one I kind of missed on was USC losing to Miami. I did not see Wong going off like that, and McGusty was just kind of McGusty. USC just didn't have the guards. You know, I talk about college basketball and guard play. Miami just had the better guards.
Yeah, I mean, that was some of it. It was also, I think USC just didn't play well for a lot of that game. Miami did exactly what they normally do, right? They got out to a big lead. They gave all of it back, and then they kind of just traded shots down the end. And USC was just a little bit too sloppy to really get over the hump. And Miami made a play down at the end to win the game, but that game easily could have gone the other way. Another team that played a really close game that probably shouldn't have is Illinois. What's with the Big Ten, buddy?
Dude, it's every year, man. I mean, it's literally every year the Big Ten disappoints. It's a tradition unlike any other. About just so disappointed. Yeah, I mean, none of the teams look good. I mean, Michigan should have lost. If they play literally anyone else other than Colorado State, they probably lose. Wisconsin almost got beat by Colgate. Purdue looked good against Yale, but a really popular pick that we're going to talk about here soon is Chris Beard beating Purdue in the second round. You know, so I mean, who is here to represent the Big Ten? Man, it's looking like nobody.
Yeah, that wouldn't really surprise me.
Alrighty, let's jump into the bracket. We got 16 games to cover, 32 teams. Let's get into it, and it all starts here in about 2 hours with UNC versus Baylor. UNC had one of the most impressive performances. Kayla Love and Brady Manick were unconscious. If they carry over that performance, can they give Baylor a run?
I don't think that they can carry that performance over. They were really prepared and played really well against Marquette. I thought that game would have been a lot closer than it was. It was not. But that doesn't change who UNC is. Now, they've played really great down the back half of the season. They've really played well. They struggled a little bit earlier, acclimating and all that stuff, but they did definitely play better down the stretch. But Baylor is obviously the reigning national champs. They have a bunch of really good players on their squad, and they have a coach that obviously knows what he's doing because they've just been consistently good for the last several years. I expect this to be a game where Baylor is able to handle UNC. So one of the things about this second half of a weekend, right? There's only a couple days to prepare. You don't necessarily know who you're going to have to play against, so it's not like you can do a ton of advanced scouting. You can do some, but not a ton. This is elite coaches may be able to tweak some things, little small advantages, but for the most part, it is about the players in this kind of a round. So at this point, I'm going to take the team with the better players, and that's Baylor.
Yeah, for sure. What I'm looking forward to, this is going to be the all-hair game. You have Mullet Man and Meyer and Brady Manick with his flow. There's going to be a lot of hair in this game. But ultimately, Baylor plays a four-guard lineup most of the time. Yeah. UNC just isn't deep enough. I love R.J. Davis. I love Caleb Love. R.J. Davis really struggled.
Don't forget about Baycott, man. He's a force down there, too.
He is, but I mean, we got Thamba for Baylor. I just think Baylor's a little too deep. I think they have the coaching advantage. Give me Baylor, even giving the 5.5 points.
That's another factor for this weekend. You mentioned it is teams that are going to be deeper are going to be able to be a little bit more fresh, especially teams that win blowout fashion. That may allow you to kind of keep your, take your players off the court a little bit, save their legs too.
Yep.
So look for that in a lot of these games.
Yep.
But yeah, we're both on Baylor here.
All right, another 9-1 matchup in the afternoon game. Number 9, Creighton against Kansas. Creighton didn't play all that well. They only shot 14% from 3. So maybe water can find its level a little bit against Kansas. But Kansas shot 50% from 3. Kansas looked like a Final Four team. Can my Creighton Blue Jays do enough to keep this thing close?
I think they cover, honestly. Kansas, while good and a team that has super high highs, they also can fade a little bit here. I don't necessarily think that they don't win this game. I have the Jayhawks advancing, but the Blue Jays can keep it close there. A lot of Jays going on in this game,
Yes.
and probably a lot of jump shots too. So, but yeah, give me Creighton and the 11.5.
Yeah, I'm just worried that, Creighton struggles to shoot away from home. They obviously will not be at home. Again, I've been fading the Blue Jays. That hasn't been good for me, but I'm going to stay consistent, even though 11.5 is a ton of points in a round of 32. Give me the Jayhawks because they had one of the best performances from the field in the entire first round.
Those don't often carry over.
No, but maybe it does.
Maybe. I'm just saying they don't often.
Kansas was not the most impressive team, though. I think the most impressive team in the first round was Tennessee. They're going against number 11 Michigan, who we talked about earlier, and they're a 6-point favorite. Man, Michigan isn't good, Newman. The Big Ten isn't good. Michigan isn't good. Man, I don't see how Tennessee doesn't just roll them. Tennessee doesn't have a true big man, but they've played guys like Dickinson all throughout the SEC season. They're not going to be surprised by him. They're not going to be surprised by Diabite and Houston. I think Tennessee wins this by double digits.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games where Tennessee's depth is a big factor. Michigan just doesn't have it. They rely on their starters a lot.
Yes.
They don't really have much scoring off the bench. Second game here for them this weekend. Tennessee should be more fresh. So yeah, I have Tennessee winning, and I have them covering the 6 points.
Same. All right, let's go to our first kind of Cinderella, number 12 Richmond against number 4 Providence. Got our first stinky line of the day. How is Providence only a 3-point favorite here, Newman?
Because Providence only plays close games.
That is true.
That's how. I have them winning here, but I would not be surprised at an upset, just because when you play a lot of close games, that gives the opponent an opportunity. Richmond's pretty good. We saw what they did against Iowa. But ultimately, I think that Providence does wind up winning this game because they do have the experience in a lot of these close games, as well as really good guard play. So that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. So this is an overused term, right? But Richmond was just tougher than Iowa, especially at the guard position. Gilliard just ran all over Bohannon. Richmond was just a tougher, grittier team. Providence has built their entire year on toughness and grit. Richmond is not playing the guards that they played in Iowa. They're playing Al Durham and Bynum, who are just tough as nails. Maybe not very good, but they're both two tough as nails guards. And also, Iowa didn't have any big man. Richmond probably hasn't faced a big man like Nate Watson all year. I honestly think the difference comes down to those three: Durham, Bynum, and Watson, just giving something Richmond just hasn't seen all year. But hey, how many stories like Gilliard are written every March? You're right. I would not put it past Richmond to upset Providence, but it's going to have to be on the back of Gilliard. But we're both taking Providence.
Yeah.
Let's jump to a 5-4 matchup. One of the closer odds games of all weekend. Number 5 St. Mary's versus number 4 UCLA. UCLA only giving 3 points. I got a question for you, Newman. Was IU just bad, or is St. Mary's good?
I think you mentioned it with the legs. They just they couldn't continue to play at that rate there. Not enough depth.
Yep. No,
so that's why St. Mary's won. And it's not like St. Mary's hasn't played. They upset Gonzaga earlier this season, so they're absolutely capable of taking down a top dog. And IU's not even that.
Not close. Not close. UCLA needed an 8-2 run to escape Akron. UCLA's big three were terrible. They shot less than 30% combined. Team-wise, they shot less than 30%. Can UCLA bounce back against St. Mary's, who's a really good defensive team?
So Mick Cronin, your boy, has been pretty good when it comes down to making those adjustments. Obviously, UCLA made a Final Four run last year, and that's for good reason, right? These players are experienced. Most of them they brought back, I think, almost the whole team.
Yep.
So they're very comfortable in this environment, playing on a couple days in a couple games in a couple days here. And at that point, it's just I think that's the advantage here for them. They're going to have better players. They're going to have more depth than St. Mary's. So I do have them winning, and I have them covering the 3 points here because that's not a huge gap there. I think that depth winds up, helping them out there. But you mentioned it; they didn't really play well in the first game. That's not necessarily something that carries over, right? Like that's something you expect more to level out. And they still managed to survive. So that's kind of what Mick Cronin teams do.
John Gross's defense can give people fits, right? Yeah. And John Gross's defense, Akron played a really well defensive game. Akron just couldn't score enough. Which you see a lot with these mid-majors teams. They just can't score enough. But Akron had a great game plan. That's why I'm taking St. Mary's for the upset, because I think St. Mary's plays a really efficient game, and UCLA just kind of, I don't know, the sum of their parts is better than the team. I'm going to take the better team. Maybe that's just because I want St. Mary's to be good so I can feel a little bit better about a 30-point loss. But give me St. Mary. Give me the Gales getting to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there at the end.
Let's go with 2 mid-majors. One's definitely going to make it to the Sweet 16. Number 15, St. Peter's, the darling of round 1, playing KJ Williams and number 7, Murray State. We got a 9-point spread here, Newman. Vegas giving no love to St. Peter's at all. Are you buying the St. Peter's wagon at all?
No, I'm not.
Smart.
So as you mentioned, you get a surprise bench player coming off the bench and just hitting ridiculous amounts of threes. Live by the 3, die by the 3. I don't expect them to be able to do that against Murray State. Also, I don't expect Murray State to shoot as poorly as Kentucky did in this game. So there's a lot that's going to favor them. This Murray State team is really, really good, and I expect them to advance and cover that 9 points.
See, I like St. Peter's to maybe backdoor cover here. I do like Murray State to win. Oscar had his way. I said it about 10 minutes ago. KJ Williams is going to eat again. KJ Williams is going to be too much for St. Peter's. I don't think they can replicate that shooting. Dougie Edert is not going to be able to do that again. He literally hadn't done it all year. But give me St. Peter's just because, Uncle Momentum is something. And I think that can at least keep them within 8.
No, it's not. Uncle Momentum is not game to game, maybe in game, but not game to game. Anyway,
let's jump to another a 12-5 upset. New Mexico State beating UConn. I mentioned it on Monday. Teddy Allen just has the ability to go off. Teddy Allen scored 37 points for New Mexico State, and he's playing an Arkansas team who's a 6.5-point favorite that doesn't play defense. Can Teddy Allen and the Aggies upset JD Notae, Musselman, and Husui?
I don't think so. I think that Arkansas is going to be a much deeper team, And this, if you haven't noticed the theme here, those dead legs, second game over the weekend here. I expect Arkansas to win this game, and I think that they cover.
See, I thought Arkansas would lose in the first round because they didn't play any defense.
That I didn't.
and
You've been picking against Arkansas a lot this year.
I have been, and it's been hit or miss. You're right. Can Teddy Allen score 37 again? Probably not. But the way Arkansas doesn't play defense, what does that lead to? A lot of covers. So I do think Arkansas wins, but I do think New Mexico State keeps this within a 2-possession game. I think I have Arkansas winning by about 4 or 5 points. I think this is going to be a really, really good game. If you guys didn't catch Teddy Allen on Thursday night, watch him tonight. He is a walking highlight reel for a really, really fun team. This should be a track meet. This should be a very high-scoring game. Take the over. Right, let's jump to, one of the uglier games. Memphis somehow sneaks by Boise State despite having 20 turnovers and shooting about 30%. Gonzaga kind of sleptwalk in their first round, but
still wind up winning by 21.
Still end up winning by 21. I think this could be the biggest blowout of the day. I think Gonzaga just murders Memphis because you can't turn the ball over and you can't be inefficient against Gonzaga. That's just a recipe for a really bad disaster.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think the Zags roll. It's lining up pretty easily for them so far. We'll see if they get challenged a little bit later on, but for now, just too much talent, good coach, all that kind of stuff playing in their favor.
I'm here for Texas Tech versus Gonzaga, though.
Memphis has some talent, but they're definitely not exactly. I don't know. They're just sloppy in general. That's typically how they play.
Jamie Durin versus Timmy and Chet Holmgren versus Emily Bates should be. I mean, those are 4 guys all going to play in the NBA. So that should be fun to watch on the offensive side. But this Memphis is just not well coached, and they just play really ugly brand of basketball.
Yeah,
which you can't do against Gonzaga. You just can't. All right, possibly the best game of the day. It's the only lower seed that's an underdog. We got number 5 Houston playing number 4 Illinois to lead off Sunday. Houston looked really good in round 1. Illinois looked really bad in round 1. How do you see this playing out, Newman?
So I had Houston going to the Final Four. I already thought that they were going to be better than Illinois here. Kofi Cockburn. I mean, Illinois almost lost that game last night.
They should.
They did not really play well, and they managed to escape, I guess. Houston they're long, they're lanky. They have a bunch of guys that can shoot. They play really good brand team basketball, and they should have no issue playing against this Illinois squad. They made a deep run last year. I'm all on Houston in this one. I expect them to cover the 4.5 points. I think Illinois will be tired. Houston had a chance to rest their starters due to that blowout. Just everything in this is favoring Houston to win this game. And if I need Houston to kind of win the national championship to have a chance in my bracket pool, because nobody actually had them winning it, and I had them going to the Final Four. So I think that's my only chance there.
There you go. Yeah. What conference is Illinois playing?
Oh, the Big Ten. Have they played well in this tournament?
No. Illinois barely scored enough points to beat Chattanooga. Elvin Sampson's defense is going to clamp up Illinois. Illinois may not score 50 points. I think Houston wins this by about 60-49, 62-50, something really ugly. If Illinois can't score against Chattanooga, they will absolutely not score against that defense in Houston. Not a chance. All right, another Big Ten team that barely squeaked by. Number 7 Ohio State barely beats Loyola. Going against number 2 Villanova. Villanova's a 5.5 point favorite. Man, what conference does Ohio State play in?
The Big Ten.
Who's disappointing? The Big Ten.
We're basically picking against the Big Ten all day today here.
How can you not after what you saw the last 48 hours? Villanova kind of struggled at times in their first game, but I think they'll handle Ohio State doesn't have the guards for Colin
They
Gillespie.
don't. No.
And Jay Wright is going to run circles against Chris Holtman. You had mentioned you're not a fan of Ohio State's coach. I think a huge guard advantage, a huge coach advantage. Villanova colors, right, Newman?
Yeah.
Yeah. EJ Liddell's a really good player. I feel bad for him. He doesn't really have much around him in Ohio State. He's going to have to go for 30, and Villanova's just not going to do that. They're going to take away Liddell because that's really the only player they need to take away from Ohio State. All right, the Big Ten slate continues. Number 7, Michigan State playing number 2, Duke. I can't believe this line was only 6.5. Duke just toyed with Cal State Fullerton, and Michigan State needed some questionable calls to beat Davidson last night. Is there any way Sparty and Izzo can pull off an upset and end Coach K's parade?
I mean, there's always a chance. I don't see it happening. This Michigan State team is not even like a normal Michigan State team. Normally, Michigan State teams they live and die by rebounding. They're excellent rebounders, and this Michigan State team just isn't. They're not even that. So I mean, Davidson, a team from North Carolina, giving them trouble is not really surprising. Now they get to go on and face another team from North Carolina that absolutely can blow teams out, just way more talented. And I just don't think Michigan State's got any ability to keep up in this game, honestly.
So I mean, they did score 74 points last night, but they had Joey Hauser, who averages about 7 points a game, went off for like 30. That's not repeatable. Who is going to, like, you've said it on this show multiple times, Duke scoring 80. How is Michigan State scoring 80? They aren't. There's literally not the players on Michigan State that can score the points to keep up in this game.
Mm-hmm.
The Coach K parade continues, unfortunately.
I mean,
next we got another Big Ten game. Number 11, Iowa State. Isaiah Brockington put on an absolute show last night, playing Wisconsin, who just barely got by Colgate. Colgate, the toothpaste brand, almost beat Wisconsin. Here's my upset. Isaiah Brockington, who I've been on all year, upsets Wisconsin to get the Cyclones into the Sweet 16. You buying that, Newman?
I'm not. I'm actually going to take Wisconsin here. One of the few Big Ten teams that I have winning. I don't think this Iowa State team's that good. I thought they were pretty much overrated all year. They did win, obviously, their earlier game there, but that was kind of to be expected against an LSU team that actually gave them a close matchup despite not having their head coach there. This Wisconsin team is going to be really well coached. Greg Gard knows what he's doing. He's a really good coach. They have Johnny Davis. So I think ultimately Wisconsin winds up winning this game because they're a better team. They're a more tested team, and they should play well here.
Yeah, I'm just fading the Big Ten.
Yeah, understandable. It's probably good. It's probably a good strategy.
Let's jump out of the Big Ten here for just a couple games and play, again, another first 4 team winning. I think I saw a stat that a first 4 team has advanced in the past 5 NCAA tournaments. Notre Dame was just unconscious. Like Carmack Ryan, who is fine, was literally turned into Steph Curry. But they play, I think, potential national champion Texas Tech. Texas Tech giving 7.5 points. I think, St. Patty's Day is over, Newman. Texas Tech brings Notre Dame back to fashion, a team that probably shouldn't even been in this tournament.
I mean, they played well so far in the tournament, and they're a team that's capable of doing that. They're a team that lives by 3, dies by 3. Texas Tech plays a style of defense that is not conducive to that. I expect Texas Tech to roll easily in this game. They're big, long, and deep. Like it's not a very good matchup for Notre Dame. Unfortunately for them,
Bryson Williams might break Carmack Ryan. I'm just saying. I just couldn't believe what I was watching in that game. Notre Dame was the best Notre Dame's played all year.
But this Texas Tech team is going to give a lot of people trouble.
All right, let's jump to another upset. Number 10, Miami, playing number 2, Auburn. Auburn's only a 7.5 point favorite here. Can the guards of Miami keep this up, Newman, against Auburn, whose guards have kind of struggled. I mean, Auburn was really led by Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler. Auburn's guards did not look good. Miami has an advantage there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this Miami team can definitely give Auburn some trouble. I still think Auburn wins this game. They have the best player, obviously, Jabari Smith.
Did you see that dunk he had?
Yeah,
Oh
who's
my
absolutely capable of taking over a game if they let him. That's the biggest issue. But Miami also kind of has small guards too, so it's not like the small guard thing is a big problem for Auburn that they're going to face against Miami. Miami does have some good shooting. Wong went off both early in the first half and then early in the second half that actually really gave Miami a chance. Without that, they probably lose that game to USC, who's a better team. But I think Auburn winds up winning here. I do think Miami is able to cover though, because they tend to play some close games. So I'll take the 7.5 points.
Yeah, I'm taking Auburn here. I think they were playing with their food a little bit in that a little bit in the first game. I think they come in. I think Miami's guards come back down to earth. I love Cameron McGusty, but there's no way Wongan is going to be able to penetrate into that defense. Walker Kessler almost had a triple-double. Walker Kessler had 9 blocks the other day. Wong is just not going to be able to get to the can like he did in the first game. I think Auburn kind of really settles in into this tournament and into a bracket that, again, I think they cruise to the Elite Eight to match up with Kansas.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more Big Ten team, and I'm picking one more upset. Number 6, Texas, led by Chris Beard. Marcus Carr came to play. Timmy Allen came to play. Versus Purdue, who kind of sort of struggled with Yale. Purdue's a 3.5-point favorite. Give me Texas all day. Even though they've been disappointing at times, man, Purdue doesn't play a lick of defense, and if you let Texas start scoring like they did in the first round where they shot over 50% from the field, that's a recipe for a loss. Give me Texas, and there will be no more Big Ten teams. None. Sunday night, Big Ten run is over.
I'm going to bet against the Big Ten being completely eliminated from the tournament. I think that's a fair bet considering how many teams they have in it. That being the case, I think Purdue winds up winning this game. Jaden Ivey is a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. Then you've got 2 7-footers. Those can give Texas problems. And like you mentioned, Texas shot 50% in the first game. I don't think that's like a stat that's going to be easily repeated.
They haven't shot the ball well all year. That was their best shooting performance.
They play well when they shoot well, but when they don't shoot well, they're screwed. And so I just don't see a team carrying over that level of performance in regards to that. And I think Jaden Ivey's gonna give them a lot of trouble.
Purdue is one of the worst defensive teams, and I think they're going to let Texas shoot well. I think that comes down to the issue.
Yeah,
we're differing on a lot of these games.
Yeah,
I like it.
I just think that Purdue can shoot well too. Like they have the ability to do that. So you're forgetting that factor. And they're a deeper team than Texas is right now.
Yeah, Purdue does go about 8-9 deep, which Texas cannot do. But Chris Beard was the head coach and has beaten Purdue before in the tournament. Let's not forget that.
Sure, but he also had, different players.
Last game, the Fighting Jamie Dixons did it, Newman.
They sure did.
They looked amazing. They just unfortunately run into Zona. 9.5 points is too many. Give me TCU just because that backcourt is tough as nails. I love Blau. I love Miles. They're 2 tough dudes, but man, when Zona's cooking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's out of the question that TCU could pull an upset here.
I don't need that for my brackets. Please.
They're better. They're better than most of the teams that Arizona played all year in the Pac-12. In my opinion. So I don't think that Arizona is as tested in this regard. I expect TCU to cover this game. I think there's a small chance that they win. Little sprinkle money line action there.
What that is? Let me see
a heavy little payout.
It's only plus 360. So Vegas thinks this could be possible. I was thinking this is going to be like plus 500.
Yeah.
Or something.
I mean, plus 360 is still
It's
plenty of
4.5
juice.
to 1. It's 4.5 to 1, yeah.
So I would certainly, be willing to throw a little cash down on that.
$10 to win 46. That ain't bad.
Yeah. But ultimately, I expect TCU to cover. 9.5 points is way too many for a team this good.
Yeah, and Arizona really, we haven't really talked about this much. Arizona really doesn't cover. They're only 19-14 against the spread, which isn't great. I have TCU covering as well, but I think Arizona just a little too tough, especially down low, especially on the fast break. TCU, I don't know if they can play that for a full 40 minutes. But man, I just love what Jamie Dixon does. It's so well coached. They looked great on offense and defense. He's one of the most slept on coaches in the entire country.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Pittsburgh, how bad do you feel moving on from that guy?
My brother is a diehard Pitt fan. Literally roots for Jamie Dixon. He's very, very upset with that program. Yeah. But all right, that's it, guys. That's the round of 32. Are you fading the Big Ten like me? Are you pulling some upsets like me? Or are you kind of going chalky the way the first round was? I wouldn't blame you if you did, because, again, only one 4 seed has lost, or only one 2 seed out of the top 4 seeds have lost. They went 15-1 in the first round. Chalky. One more question, Newman, before we get out of here. Are the Lightning beating the Rangers tonight?
Yes.
Need that to happen.
Julien Brisebois is a wizard. They made a great trade for Hagel yesterday. Kind of lost amongst all the action, and that guy's going to fit in really nicely on a really cheap deal for the next couple of years. Let's keep that train rolling there, Lightning.
There we go. Go Lightning, beat the Rangers. Everyone enjoy the weekend. Go watch some basketball. We'll be back here next week to discuss the Sweet 16.
Absolutely.
See ya.